Now, back at home while you were in the service, people were sacrificing during World War II.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you keep in touch with family?
Postcards, riding home. That's the only way you could do it.
Now, they had a thing called V-mail, too.
That's right.
And did they do censorship much in those days?
Yes, everything was censored. Officers' mail was not censored, but all the enlisted people was censored.
So in the B-17, how many people are on a crew? On typical? Nine people.
Nine or 10. 10 when you got the chin turret.
So when did you first see action?
At Guadalcanal.
So you start off in California training on these different planes.
No, I did the flying school was California, and then Sebring, Florida was B-17.
And how long were you over there?
At Sebring, I think we done that 3 months.
And so then where'd you go from there?
I went to New Caledonia.
And so then how long?
Well, yes, go ahead.
No, so how long were you over there?
16 months.
And so, do you remember the first time you saw action?
Yes.
Can you describe it for us? What it was like?
It was the Battle of Guadalcanal was a very pivotal battle. It's really the first time we turned the Japanese around at Guadalcanal. I take it back. We turned them around at Midway too, but we turned them around at the ground advances at Guadalcanal, and they were building a base there. The Japanese were building a base, and so the initial Marine landing was very, very easy by comparison. But the Japanese saw what we were doing, and they moved everything in there. And really, they had control of Iron Bottom Bay there. And we managed to lose 42 capital ships in that thing. And that battle went on for a whole year almost. And they had the Japanese had put on a big push there, and we were at that particular time flying out of Ifati, which is in the New Hebrides Island, which is halfway between New Caledonia and Guadalcanal, and the Solomon Islands. And so we went up there to bomb some transports that were coming in.
So your typical job flying those planes would be to carry some bombs and drop them on.
And we were trying to knock out their air bases and various things.
So you would typically land and take off of normal land, not ships with those planes.
No,
And did you ever have any close calls?
no, I don't think so on that particular tour.
How high would you be when you were dropping the bombs?
Was it 15,000 feet or something like that?
So after Guadalcanal, what did you do?
I came back to the United States and went through B-29 transition and then went back over to Guam.
Was it much difference between the B-17 and B-29?
All the difference in the world.
In what ways were they different?
Well, it was twice as big, it'd go twice as far, and carry twice the bomb load.
They had twice the crew?
No, it had the same crew for all practical purposes, except we didn't have any guns on our airplanes except the tail guns.
So a bigger plane was a little farther to take off, a little bit farther to land.
That's right.
And
But
what,
the B-17 was a grand old lady, and the B-29 you had to pay attention. It would bite you.
and where'd you go with that plane?
We went to the Empire, the Japanese Empire, from Guam, and the standard mission was 17 hours.
Do you remember first time you saw Japan?
Oh yes.
What was going through your mind?
Well, actually we made landfall in a highly populated area, and there was another raid going on in there, and it was Yokohama, and there was a lot of flak at night.
A lot of people are going to watch this video are going to be 100 years from now.
Hmm.
In World War II, what was it like being somebody in the Air Corps? As far as like, when you weren't flying, what kind of things did you do? Did you for recreation? Did you have much free time?
Well, you had an adequate amount of free time, and they would play cards, and play volleyball and baseball and softball. But actually, we didn't have any softball. Primarily volleyball.
How was the food when you were those days in the service?
Scarce. We didn't have any refrigeration, and so you got a lot of canned meat, scratch, spam, and it was pretty sparse. That later on we got some refrigeration, and the food was very adequate. And at B-29s we had refrigeration. We had very good food.
How was the morale of the people over there when you were there?
Very good.
So people were pretty confident what was going on.
It was a pretty touch and go deal that in the first part. See, that's the first of the war. I didn't really realize the significance of the Battle of Midway until when it took place, when we got those four Japanese carriers. But they still had a tremendous force.
After you were flying over Japan, what kind of work did you do after that?
I went back to Wright Field, and I was in flight test. I got in flight test, and I did the B-36 and the B-50 and the B-47 and B-52.
When you say flight test, what does that mean?
You're the first service pilots that fly the airplanes.
So the planes they're built, and you're testing them, see if they'll
That's
fly.
right. Yeah.
And so, was there a lot of people doing that kind of work?
No, not too many.
Who were some of the? Was it pretty dangerous work?
Well, it was dangerous enough that all the streets at Edwards Air Force Base were named for pilots who were killed there.
There's been some famous flyers come out of there those days, hasn't there?
That's right. Bob Hu was one of them. Chuck Yeager's another one. Bud Anderson is another one. That boy on the right-hand side right there.
So what's it take to be a test pilot in those days? Were you guys, was it all skill, or was it science?
It was a combination. We didn't have the instrumentation in those days that they have now, and so we had to do a lot of things before it was all checked out on the ground, and it was, you want to know what a test pilot does. To begin with, he's got to be an excellent pilot to start with, and then he's got to want to do things the first time. I mean, and that gives you a pleasure. It's into the unknown, and it's a real challenge. And what he really has to be able to do is to fly an airplane and be able to describe what the airplane does. Not what the airplane should do, but what it does.
So when you got down, you would tell the
That's right. You
people.
tell the engineers about, and then work with the engineers on the fix. To fix the airplane if it was bad.
So you would stay with the same plane for a while? You would stay in the same plane for a while to get it going?
Mm-hmm.